Hey, Craig.
It's on you, it's all on me. Can't you see? It's on you, it's all on me. You and me, can't you? It's on you, it's on me.
Hey, Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Craig.
Hey, Jeff.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, just curious. This is inside baseball stuff, but do I look out of focus to you, or is that just my camera?
You absolutely look out of focus to me. Did you accidentally touch the screen while you were pouring your beer? Do we need to
No.
wipe off the camera?
No,
There
there
it
it is.
goes.
It just
There
came
it
back.
goes.
I don't. Maybe I was too far away.
Oh,
I don't
your
know.
face, your
Sorry,
beautiful face is now in focus.
That's only for the YouTube watchers.
Yes,
but
only
hey,
for,
everyone.
only for the YouTubers.
This is Craig Powers. This is Podcast versus Everyone. Whatever
That's
I
right.
usually
That's
say.
the name of the show. Yes.
Every
job.
I'm Craig
Well done.
Powers.
You're
this
Craig
is not
Powers.
Craig Powers. I'm
That's
Craig
not the
Powers.
show.
With me, as usual, is Jeff Newser. This is
Hello.
episode whatever.
245.
245. I never know.
245.
I'm just going in and
245
out of focus.
episodes.
I have no idea what the hell's wrong with my camera. I have
This is
a
going to be an
webinar
adventure for the YouTube
I have a
folks.
webinar for work tomorrow. I hope it doesn't do that while I'm on that webinar.
Maybe that's why we got those crazy AI images last week where it was like, Craig, this is Craig.
It's doing this. I don't know.
Yeah, like to fill in the viewer. So we use Riverside for recording and listeners. We use Riverside for recording, which allows us to do both video and audio at the same time. And so we can, put it up on YouTube for folks who want to watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/podvs everyone. If you want to watch on YouTube, and that's always on the newsletter. You can subscribe to the newsletter at podcastversuseveryone.com if you're not already subscribed. But Riverside has these like kind of AI tools. And of course I have very strong feelings about AI. I'm not the biggest fan, but sometimes it's like, okay, let's see what kind of slop it spits out. And so last week I told it to make a thumbnail that we could use on YouTube, and it created a thumbnail. And basically what it did was it made me look like 10 years younger, and it made Craig look like a completely different person. It was very funny. Yeah. Like, it was just like, I was like, wait, who is this guy? We were like on the Slack. I posted it and I was like, sorry, Craig. And I put the little, like the GIF from The Godfather where, Marlon Brando's like, look at how they massacred my boy. Like, this is my boy who I don't know. Well, ostensibly it was my boy, but it did not look anything like my boy. It looked like, I don't know, like Craig and somebody had a love child is what it looked like.
Yeah, it was really creepy.
It was creepy.
It was one of my friends said it was Craig adjacent.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was like a love child.
Uncanny,
there was enough
valley
of you in
shit.
there, right? That I could see the genetics, but like it did not look like you. If Craig had a child out of wedlock while he was in high school and that child grew up, maybe that child would have looked like this AI image. Maybe.
Both my children were out of wedlock, Jeff, so
you know what? That is true. That is accurate. I guess I should not have used that qualifier. My bad.
But yeah, so speaking of things that didn't quite look the same this past weekend, the WSU men's basketball team. Frankly, we expected them to go down and get their butts kicked at St. Mary's. Now they lost. That's, that happened. St. Mary's hit 1 billion threes, which happens when you leave guys open.
When you leave guys wide open.
They might make them sometimes.
It does happen.
And we've talked about that as an issue with this defense before. largely when they have a good game, it's because the other team doesn't make those wide open threes. They made them against St. Mary's, but on the flip side, WSU scored a ton of points against a pretty damn good St. Mary's defense.
Yeah.
And that was what was encouraging, because what's been, I mean, the poor defense is kind of a given. We weren't shocked by that. We knew what Riley had coming in. But when he was at Eastern, I mean, we saw what he was focused on. But when the offense has been really sketchy, it's like, man, we got an offensive coach and we don't even get to enjoy good offense. That's a bummer. But that offense came around against St. Mary's, and it kept him in the game, and it
Mhm.
got him damn close to winning. But of course, not enough in the end when you're giving up, what was it, a 1.24 points per possession. Your
Yeah, that's
1.16 doesn't quite cut it.
yeah, that's too
Again,
many. Too many.
14 of 30 from the 3-point line, St. Mary's,
Yeah.
which was again a record for a team against Wazoo, 14
Yeah.
threes. You don't expect a team to get 14 to 30, but again, if you're leaving guys open, especially guys that there's some good shooters on St. Mary's, they're going to hit them, and you're going to hit that randomness on occasion where they're going to hit almost half of them,
Yeah.
and that really did them in. But also, let's be honest, they hit 50% of their twos as well. And big bad luck is they hit all 20 of their free throws.
And this is, by the way, this is the best free throw shooting team in the country. Like they've got like 3 guys, as the broadcast reminded us, 26 different times, even when they weren't on the free throw line, that this was the best free throw shooting team. They shoot like 82% as a team, as a fucking team. They got like 3 guys, I think, above 90%, and not
It's
like
like
small sample size.
some of those Tad Boyle at Colorado
Yeah.
teams for like years in a row when he had
Yeah.
80+%.
So, they did hit all of those. They did hit a ton of threes. The biggest issue that the defense had was their game plan kind of sucked out of the gate. And I say that not because it was a bad idea, but the execution was really poor. So one thing our defense doesn't do very often, it does not double team very often, because we don't really need to. We got Indy Okafor anchoring the middle. He's a rim protector, legit rim protector all on his own. He kind of owns the paint, right? Defensive rebounding, blocking shots. Like he can handle himself for the most part down there all alone. St. Mary's provides a little bit different challenge than most teams. They've got like multiple 7-footers. They start one, they bring one off the bench. Like they're really big. And then you got Paulus Morauskas, who's 6'8", but like he's a load inside and
big.
out. He's a big. I mean, he's a stretch 4 who can beat you from pretty much anywhere on the floor. So, and he had 24 points, and I swear to God, it was like the most quiet 24 points I can imagine. He's so good. So we had this game plan to really double bigs a lot and collapse, and we don't normally do that. And what happened was, it was just clear we don't normally do that. Like the doubles were indecisive, the rotation, the help off a double was bad. It just resulted in open shooter after open shooter after open shooter. Now they had guys that they were targeting to maybe be the guy who gets left open if they double and they can't get there fast enough. That guy was Joshua Dent. He came into the game shooting, 28% from 3 or something. So of course he hits 6 of 9, and I think he hit his first 5 or 6. I think he hit the first 5, if I remember right, or first 4, something like that. So basically annihilated us more or less all by himself. He was the Ken Pom game MVP, if that means anything to anybody out there. So real bad first half. That said, they fell behind 17, 19, something like that.
Yep.
That said, they clawed back at the end of the first half. And then in the second half, they had a much more, and I would say even at the end of the first half, had a much more pragmatic plan. They sort of abandoned the doubling. And then they went to this zone. I can't remember if they went to it before half or if it was only after half, but they went to a 3-2 zone, which is not typically the kind of zone that teams run, because you're really like that's putting a lot of pressure above the arc and on the wings, but like you can get kind of exposed around the basket. but it worked for us. It made them stop shooting threes. They were trying to force it inside, and they've got kind of bigs, and that allowed the bigs to maybe catch it a little farther away from the basket than what they would want. It really gummed up what St. Mary's was wanting to do, and it allowed the offense to get them back into the game. So I mean, we complain about David Riley a lot, and I think for good reason. I'm not gonna hide behind that and be like, we don't do it for good reason. I think it is for good reason. I think we shouldn't have seasons where half the season is absolute dog shit and just be okay with that, because I'm not. But I would say I think they're coming along. The offense, this is now like 3 strong offensive performances in a row that don't look fluky. Arizona State, that was fluky, right? Ace Class goes bananas.
Yeah.
These 3 do not look fluky. And then they combined it with some pretty good defense after halftime. I mean, I think they still allowed 1.1 points per possession or 1.15 or something, which is still not good, but it's also not horrendous against a really good offensive team, right? So you put all that stuff together, there's a lot of positives to take away from the game, even if it got away from them down the stretch.
Yeah, and what does that mean going forward? Obviously, they're the best team they'll see all year. They're playing at home on, it'll
Thursday.
be Thursday, probably when most people listen to this, maybe Wednesday, early Thursday. Again, that really annoying midweek game against
Why can't
Gonzaga.
they put that game on a fucking weekend, man?
Well, the Gonzaga gets theirs on the weekend, but
I know, it's ridiculous,
like they
man.
need it to sell.
I
Like
know.
we this could be the one 10,000 seat now. Half of them will be Gonzaga fans, but
you can't do us one damn favor.
No. But yeah, and it's on CBS Sports Network, which is just a channel
that's linear cable. That's big time for the WCC.
Yeah,
right
it is, but
it's not ESPN Plus.
I would call it deep cable. That's when you get those those weird commercials, and depending, especially at 10 p.m. Eastern game,
you're gonna get well, you may not get reverse mortgages because it's late at night, so the old people might be asleep. But what you are going to get, you probably get the Patriot boxes, right? Like those have been a popular one right now. Like the end of the earth is coming. You better stock up, Patriots, because who knows what Antifa is about to do. You never know. Antifa might come for you. So
we're probably going to get some hymns, commercials,
some hymns.
Yeah. Yeah. So
again, you never know. It's also that time of night, right? You start thinking about those things.
So set that DVR so you make sure you can go back and see all those commercials.
Yeah.
Support your advertisers.
There you go.
So we can have our live sports. But yeah, so Gonzaga is really good on both sides of the ball. It's
different kind of challenge than St. Mary's, but
they typically they typically have under Mark Few a very, very good offense. About the only thing they don't do well is get to the free throw line. And they're not that good of a free throw shooting team, so maybe they just don't want to.
It is. So so Ken Palm's got the new average 2-point attempt distance on here.
Yeah.
And it goes back about 5 years. But they are, and one of the things he talked about, so he did any of y'all who follow, Ken Pomeroy, he's got a Substack that he doesn't use all that often, but he basically treats it kind of like a blog, right? When he has something to say, he writes there. And he talked about this new stat that he's got on here, which is average 2-point attempt distance. So basically, what's your average distance on a 2-point attempt from the basket? You would think that being closer to the basket is absolutely what you would want and absolutely the very best thing, because the closer you are, if the way he put it, if every shot attempt was a dunk, you'd be happy, right? But he pointed out that a lot of people, it's more of a style thing. So for example, David Riley, stylistically, has always had one of the top 2-point attempt distances in the country because of the way he runs his offense. Gonzaga this year is, hold on, I got to look now because I actually went
They're 209th.
There you go, 209th in 2-point distance, but they are 24th in 2-point percentage, right? So they're not getting to the free throw line because they're taking shots average at a below average distance away from the rim. Okay, that makes total sense, right? but it's not stopping them from making them. So it's like, mid-range
Mid-range,
stuff is, they
mid-range
will,
kings.
might remind you a little bit. I have not watched a ton of Gonzaga this year, but I did watch a lot of Houston last year. Houston got all the way to the national championship playing basically like that, not getting to the rim and shooting a ton of mid-range jumpers. Worked for them. It's working for Gonzaga. They have the number 6 adjusted offensive efficiency in the country. They're really still really, 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 really fucking good. They are incredible shooters, even though they don't take a ton of threes. They take them at one of the lowest rates in the country, but that kind of tells you that when they take them when they're really, really open, and then they make them. So,
And,
that feels great coming off a game
also-
where people made wide open threes at a 45% clip.
Also, we have at least in the Slack, we've talked about how Riley just needs to tighten up the rotation. There's
Yeah.
not enough good guys on the team to have like a 9 man rotation.
Yep.
That the Gonzaga does not have that problem. Gonzaga plays a ton of guys, and they play steel like freaking whatever 40-year-old Steel Vinters. It is
It's so
it is coming off the bench. Like legit, he hasn't played in an actual college basketball season in like 3 years. And like if you look at his KenPom page, the last is 22-23 and then 25-26. Like this is legit 3 years off, and he's here. And this just basketball these days. He is legit 20. He's 24, will turn 25 in May. This is an adult man.
Yep.
Coming off the bench, very, like Indiana football, just grown men playing against
I mean,
boys.
they've got, what is this? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players who have played at least 40% of the team's minutes on the season. That is actually super bonkers. Not very many teams do that.
And it's not like a couple guys got injured and they played a ton early.
Right.
All of them have played all 18 games.
Yes, except for one.
Except
Graham Ike missed
Grammy
one
K.
game.
He's
but
the only
everybody
one that
else
has
played
missed a
18
game.
games.
That whole rotation, that's deep. And plus so they have a couple of guys that played 13 games. But yeah, their rotation is deep. They're gonna wear you out.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got a guy like Steel Vinters, who we know was very, very good, and who one of the guys that Riley might have followed Riley if he hadn't already went to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
But then he was hurt. He was hurt again. But he's just coming off the bench. He has started quite a bit, but he's playing bench minutes. A lot of guys are playing bench minutes. Hardly Braden Huff, the only guy that's started every single game.
Yeah.
But even he's only playing 63% of minutes and starting every single game.
I know.
And
it's so annoying.
Like it's crazy. And we talked about it a lot under when Smith was building the team. Your ideal is you don't have the one guy launching all the shots.
Mhm.
You want it spread out among a few guys. Gonzaga has that. They have Ike and Huff take a lot of shots, but then you have Foster comes off the bench and he shoots quite a bit. And then you have a bunch of guys that are kind of in the middle, like kind of role player limited roles, and they can all shoot. It's frustrating. They're going to be a really tough team to guard. All this to say, Wazoo's going to have a real tough time guarding this team. They're not as big as St. Mary's. I'll say that. So it's a different challenge. They're not going to be doubling. They're not going to be. I mean, they might double Huff, but because he's not like a great passer or anything. But they might double him. They might. I don't know. It didn't work out last time, and you just got. Gonzaga doesn't have a
I could
ton of
see him
shooters,
doubling
but-
Ike. I could see him trying to double Ike. Largely to try and maybe keep him from getting to the free throw. He's the one guy who gets to the free throw line quite a bit.
Yeah.
His free throw rate is high. He draws a lot of fouls. So maybe they try to get and he's not a great passer. So, they try to maybe
Yeah.
get the ball out of his hand, but I mean, I don't want him to try and do that. I
No.
would much rather see them. And as much as it pains me to say this, Craig, and I know you can check me on this, but I think I would like to see a lot of that zone, if I'm being honest.
It's going to be necessary against these two bigs.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to try to deny the ball or get them in difficult positions.
Yeah. Make it
'Cause
hard to
they're
get
two
the ball inside
Their
and make
two
them
best
catch
player.
it not under the basket, right?
Yeah, Gonzaga, obviously, but it's like, what are the bad positions? Gonzaga,
Yeah.
Huff wants to shoot the mid range.
Right.
Ike gets the basket, but not like a crazy high free throw rate. Like, it's a good free throw rate,
It's a good
but it's
one.
kind of what you expect of an inside player. Like it's
A good one anyway. Yeah.
a good one. Well, and especially a guy that shoots that much. But he's it's gonna be a challenge. But I agree with you. Like, I hate the zone, but how they don't got the dudes to cover both of them.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't have them in the rotation.
Yeah.
Like because what, are you gonna play Hildebrandt a bunch?
I hope he never sees the floor.
Yeah, he really shouldn't against Gonzaga.
Well, and back to what you said about the rotation, like Dave has actually tightened, he has done to some degree
Yes.
what we said. Like he has tightened the rotation, but that's mostly after halftime. And it's really like it kind of killed them against St. Mary's. I mean, who's to say if guys get tired so they don't make a push at the end of the second half? And it's this whole like, I mean, who knows exactly how it plays out if you don't do that. What I can say is that the game absolutely got away from them against St. Mary's when the bench guys came in the first half. And that is when it fell apart. And in the second half, they were able to pull within 3. And then it fell apart from there again because Mikey Lewis decided to be like Superman and just make ridiculous shots with a little help from the officiating. And it's like, you put all that together. Okay. You end up losing by 6 because you go on a little run at the end. But they really do need to play their best players. And so I'm really curious to see kind of how he handles it. If he tries to stick to what he's been doing. I mean, you put Simon Hill, not to pick on the guy, but it's like you put him on the floor with this front court, and it's like, I mean, it whatever the game is, it could go from 5 points to 15 points in like his 3 minutes on the floor. Like it could happen that fast. And so I still think the rotation needs to come down. I mean, like, here's a great example. Randy Bennett against, St. Mary's, he had 2 guys play 40 minutes. They were okay. The guy who made like 6 threes, he played 40 minutes and had 5 steals and kicked our ass. Morauskas, their best player, played 40 minutes and kicked our ass. Like, you can do this. You can do this. Guys can play 40 minutes. It's okay. I mean, can't do it. You don't want to do it with everybody. But like, like
when you got to win a game, when you need it, when you need your best players on the floor.
Barring
Bennett
foul
obviously
trouble.
saw like that game was close enough. Yeah.
Andy Okafor, Emmanuel Ugbo, and Emily Elaho. Those guys should play whatever the 40 minutes are in the front court. The 80 minutes in the front court, divided up between those 3 guys, and just leave it at that.
Yep.
Eight guys should play in this game max. I would even be better with 7. Try to slow it down. Play your best guys, and hope that the adrenaline of playing at home, even though it'll probably be a lot of Gonzaga fans, hope the adrenaline of playing at home carries you through on that.
I think there'll be. I hope that there's a decent like student showing at least.
I would hope so, man.
You don't get a chance to see like highly ranked teams,
No.
All that stuff.
I mean, not right now.
That brings you out. This is where there's no denying that since Tomas has been out, the team has played better ball. But you and I have talked about this. Like, is this like a Patrick Ewing thing? Like, I mean, not that Tomas is
Right,
Patrick
right.
Ewing, but you're
you gotta
taking
be
out.
this is so funny because you have to be a certain age to understand that reference.
I know. If anyone, for the younger people
little Ewing theory
who
for the
didn't
young folks.
live and die with '90s NBA, which was like the greatest fucking era of sport
true.
of all time.
It's true. Any sport.
The Knicks, Patrick Ewing, very clearly one of the best players in the NBA, very clearly the best player on the Knicks. For some reason, whenever Patrick Ewing was out, the Knicks played really well.
Yep.
And so it was just so confusing. Like, they call it Patrick Ewing theory.
Yes.
We don't know. But like Tomas, like, I think what you were saying earlier, the team is coming around. Dave is figuring it out, how to use his players better, and the players are playing better. I think Tomas would be on that path too, and I think they would be
I do
better.
too.
And this is a game where I would love to have him.
Yeah.
Because he's versatile. They could steal some minutes at the 4 from him, because he's strong. Like he's more athletic than like Favors, and stronger and more athletic than Favors, so they could move him around a little bit more. And so it's a real bummer not to have him in this game and against St. Mary's, but you don't have him. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, like I agree with you. Emily, Ugbo, and Okafor, just they got to ride it. Again, against a Gonzaga team that really, like we said, they're not trying to get you in foul trouble often. Hopefully you can ride with just the 3 front court players, and then on the guards, like Ace and Jerome gotta roll with it. I know that Adria got that right up in the spokesman today.
Yeah.
But because he's had 2 games that were
okay
not
games.
horrendous,
2 okay games in a row.
but literally one, it's just been him just not shooting.
Yes.
And handling
the turnovers
ball.
are down a little
the
bit.
The turnovers are down.
That's
he's
the other
like
piece.
his last 2 games, easily his 2 best games of the season, aside from maybe St. Thomas, but he also turned the ball over 3 times in that game. But he dunked the ball. Oh my gosh! I mean, it always looked like he can dunk the ball. He's 6'4", and he's a Division I basketball player. Like,
should be
most
able to.
6'4" Division I basketball players can dunk a basketball.
Should be able to.
They just don't. But yeah, he tried to dunk the ball a couple times against Oregon State.
Yeah.
And so I'm not shocked by it. It's good. Like, he's playing better. He's obviously going to play, but
probably about 20 minutes.
Yeah, but it's nice that Jerome has been playing well, to force Riley to actually look at, does Adria need all these minutes? And obviously Ace is I know he's young, but that makes it even more. Just play him 40 minutes. I don't care, dude.
Yeah, I don't either.
Dude, the kids, they play AAU ball. They play eight freaking games a weekend.
I was gonna say,
they can play 40 minutes. Like,
they play 3 games in like 3 hours. On a Saturday.
Obviously the AAU games are not playing as hard as they do in a Division I game, but still, you're out there, you're sweating, your heart rate's up.
Yeah, you're running, you're moving.
Yeah. But so obviously, like, I'd love to see the tighter rotation as possible against Gonzaga. You cannot. They're going to, with their 8th and 9th guys, they will destroy your 8th and 9th guys.
Well, and where they really get you is, so we just talked about Adria, right? And like, one of the major problems that he had leading up to these last couple games was turnovers. Gonzaga pressures the shit out of you, and they're trying to take the ball away. Like, so you're taking a team that is one of the worst in the country at hanging on to the ball. You are playing against a team that's one of the best at taking the ball away. So what it's really going to come down to, so I think there's kind of 2 factors that I see going, like, do they have a chance, right? So how do they beat Gonzaga? Well, one is, the turnovers, right? The live ball turnovers are absolute killer. If Ace, and I don't want to pick too much on Adria, because he's not the only one, right? He's not the only one who has turnover issues. Ace Glass has major turnover issues, right? Now he makes up for it generally by being just like our best offensive player. But he does turn the ball over in usually pretty dumb way. Not, I shouldn't say dumb ways. Dribbling the ball usually.
Yeah.
In places where you don't
Over
normally
dribbling.
expect to lose the ball. Like it's not
Yeah.
like he's in the lane and he's getting it stripped. He's usually like out on a wing or something, and then he dribbles the ball off his foot or what. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, so that kind of stuff is going to be killer. Again, Adria, who has a tendency to make questionable passes and of questionable quality, right? So he might find an open guy, but a lot of times, like if you watch, like a lot of his passes that could lead to a shot, like the guy's got to catch it around his knees or something, like instead of like right in the pocket. And that's where, balls bounce off hands and go out of bounds or, bounce off a hip or whatever. So if those two guys, I think if Ace and Adria can both take care of the ball reasonably well, I think that makes a huge difference. They're just going to have a chance to get, bites at the apple, because Gonzaga, they are, we're a really good defensive rebounding team. They are not quite as good, but almost as good. And we're talking like both teams in the top 12 in defensive rebounding percentage. So, if you turn it over, you're already going to have a hard time getting a second shot once you get it up. You can't kill yourself by not even getting off a shot, right? And then I think that defensive rebounding percentage that we have, I think that's a thing that, like, when I look at something where I'm like, okay, if I can visualize how an upset might happen, that's going to play a key role. Because if you look at, Ken Palm has these game plans where he does these, like, basically, I don't know what he called, like correlations, right? Correlations to efficiency. So everybody's number one correlation to efficiency is always going to be effective field goal percentage, right? Like how well you shoot is going to mostly determine your efficiency. For Gonzaga, number two is offensive rebounding percentage. So in other words, the more offensive rebound, and again, this might seem like obvious, but actually it's not. Like not every team is really closely tied offensive rebounds to offensive efficiency. Like not everybody has that. They do. Right. So their offensive efficiency is the next closest. And the other two, their turnover percentage, their free throw rate have almost no correlation to their offensive efficiency. Really, it comes down to how well do they shoot? And honestly, their shooting correlation is even maybe a little bit lower than what you might normally expect. It's like plus 88. Their defensive efficiency correlation to their opponent's shooting is like plus 94. So like their defensive efficiency is almost entirely that and taking the ball away. Those are kind of the two biggest things, even bigger than this. So like if we can defensive rebound the way that we have, St. Mary's in that second half, that was part of what really gummed them up offensively is they started missing some shots. They couldn't get off all the threes they wanted. They weren't getting close twos. They weren't getting to the line, and they weren't getting offensive rebounds. And so when you put all that together, like that's a recipe. Now, different challenge, right? So it's athletic 6'9", 6'8", 6'10" guys versus, big 7'1", 7'2" guys. But at the same time, man, if we can do that, if we can do what we've been doing all year, and Gonzaga has a not great shooting night because randomness happens, to me, that's how I see a potential upset unfolding.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, obviously, that's a lot to ask. You're asking the Cougs to play a couple guys to play out of character.
Yep.
Now it wouldn't be crazy if they hit some shots. If Vavers knocks down some shots, if Glass knocks down some shots, it would be crazy if Adria knocked down a three. But if he knocks down a couple threes, man, okay, we might be in a good shape. But Morton's been hitting threes lately, so they have guys that are hitting shots lately. So if they can keep up that scoring rate, but they also, like you said, you can't turn the ball over because you're not gonna get second chances, like you're used to, and so you have to make up for that shot volume somewhere, and that is by taking care of the basketball, and so that's important, and you gotta clean the glass on your own end. Because Gonzaga's going to they're crashing the glass.
Yep.
So, huge rebounding. Both, I wouldn't expect us to get many offensive rebounds, but it's going to be huge for us to limit their offensive rebounds. Again, but we said maybe we have to play a zone. And you know what? If we're playing that zone, Gonzaga's going to eat us alive on the offensive glass.
Maybe. I mean, again, maybe it's a different challenge in St. Mary's. We played that zone in the second half, rebounded great. So again, maybe it's just the fact St. Mary's has, slower, taller guys versus these, maybe not,
that's
they're
what
not short,
that's
not
what
real short, but they're athletic.
That's what I'm thinking, man. Like
That might be it. You might be right.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
Who knows? It's going to be pick your poison, right? Like you're going to have to take a chance somewhere. And I mean, if we think it kind of like football, we're going to talk about football in a sec, but it's like, if you think about it like football, like defenses can't cover every inch of the field, right? So they have to decide, are we going to give this up or that up? And, this might be a situation where you're going to have to give something up, and, maybe that's it. I don't know. But I am curious, I'm curious to see kind of how they get it done and whether they can, frustrate Gonzaga. And because that's what really happened against St. Mary's. They frustrated St. Mary's. Are they going to be able to frustrate Gonzaga at all? That's really what it's, I think, going to take. And, maybe they can do that, man. Maybe Dave has the game of his life. Dave's got quite a reputation in his career for getting his teams to get up against higher ranked opponents. And I mean, we saw that firsthand when he was at Eastern, knocking us out of the NIT and generally pissing off Kyle Smith and his staff by being just a pain in the ass. Maybe this is that. Maybe this is that game, because we do have, if we have seen anything over this last month, it's that we have talent, right? Like at the beginning of the year, we were like, maybe these guys just suck, right? But I think it's become pretty obvious. There's talent. There is talent. And so the question is, can they, rise to it one time and do something and maybe invite some of that variance.
So I was curious. I went back, looked at many years on KenPom of Gonzaga, and in the last 5 years or so, they've lost to the number 109 team in KenPom a couple times.
Assuming
the last
on the
time,
road.
the last time they lost to anyone above that was number 138 San Diego in 2014.
Okay.
On the road. But they weren't, that was a Gonzaga team that finished number 24 overall. So the last team they've lost to in the 140s was in 2012 to San Francisco on the road.
What are you saying, Craig?
We
got a chance to do something. We got a chance to do something on Thursday.
Okay, KenPom has a 90, on the road. Like WSU's at home, and KenPom gives WSU a 6%.
I know.
To win in 6% of simulations.
I know. At home.
If this happens, it would be one of the biggest upsets in college basketball this year, potentially.
Yeah.
Like it would. So it. I think WC's been playing a little bit better. They're definitely been playing a little bit better than their rating lately.
For sure. They're playing like in the last 6-7 games. They're sort of like median game score is about 70, which is like about top 100. So that's kind of where they've been sitting. They're not, their overall ranking's not there yet. But
their game,
but honestly, they played
game,
like about a top 100.
Their
team.
game score is going to be like a 99, 100.
Oh yeah, they're going to have to play like
game.
a top 20 team to
they
win
have
this
to play
game.
better than they've played all year by far. It's not even close.
Yes. Yeah.
But if they do, fuck yeah, dude, I'll be so.
Can you
hyped.
imagine? Can you imagine?
Like that would be so cool. Be like, okay, like just get one of these. I mean, obviously, we're going to be playing Gonzaga twice a year for a lot. For the foreseeable future. So we're gonna have more chances. It's not like when we got the one a year and then it stopped.
Right.
But to get one in the WCC would be fun. And but again, it'd be really fun because this is a really big long shot, and it would be a massive upset. Probably one of the biggest upsets in the history of the series.
They have won almost all of their games by double. Okay, so they've lost one game. All their other games they've won by double digits, except for like 2 of them, and those were like 6 points and 8 points.
Hey, they did. They only beat San Diego by 6 on the road.
Yes, and then of course the one game they did lose was by 40 to Michigan. Michigan's really fucking good, but like They
need
just
that
had like an
Gonzaga.
insane, horrible, absolutely horrible offensive night. It's kind of crazy looking. Their raw efficiency for that game was 0.76 points per possession, which I got to imagine is honestly one of their worst performances
which is
ever.
one Adria Rodriguez.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's a long shot. It's a long shot. I don't know what the line is right now. I got to imagine it's something like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
But that's why we play the games, man. That's why we love sports. You never know what's going to happen. Might happen.
It might happen. And then, okay, just briefly, let's look at the game after that because we won't record again until after that.
Yeah, San Francisco.
So this we looked at last week. We looked at this set of games that they had in front of them, and the San Francisco was the most winnable one in this set of tough games. And San Francisco might have one of their guys out. Jamie said
Beasley was
one, but he said he is back.
Okay.
So he.
And then the other guy was Mookie Cook was the other guy.
Cook,
who's kind of a wing,
who's
a really good shooting wing
for several games.
Yep.
But wasn't like a full-time starter when he was in.
Yeah.
Not as important as a player as Beasley.
Yep.
But they definitely look, if WC is playing like a top 100 team, like around 100, this is a team they can beat.
Yep.
If WC plays like they've been playing lately,
yep,
this is a team they can beat. They got a real shot to beat this team at home. It's
at San Francisco.
Sorry, it's at San Francisco. Damn it, I forgot. I was looking at San Francisco. I was looking at San Francisco's schedule. That makes it tougher, but it's still a team they can beat. They played well on the road last time they played. Obviously, this is a game that would be huge to win, just to keep the vibes like higher, and because you got to think this team is really shooting for a winning record in conference play. You got to get this one if you want it. You got to get this one, and then you have a couple easier games after that. San Diego on the road, Pepperdine at home. Yeah, Seattle at home, which I don't know. You've seen them once, and then Portland at home. So you have a night. You got a nice stretch after this. You could potentially stack some wins if you can get San Francisco. Yeah. So it'd be really nice to see them pull that one off. I know they're going to exert a lot of like emotional energy on Thursday probably, but they got 3 days and they got a plane ride to go to San Francisco.
Short plane ride.
Yeah. And so, so hopefully that, let's go get that one. We're not going to detail that one into too much detail. Although one thing to point out, San Francisco also San Francisco, hold on, they're also just a kind of solid defensive team, and they rebound well and they shoot. They prevent teams from shooting well, but their offense isn't amazing, and so they might not exploit your bad defense quite as much. They're not a good shooting team, real shot to win this game. Go win that one. Yeah, and if you win on
you'd
Thursday,
feel great about that. Like if you lose to St. Mary's and you lose to Gonzaga, and like we said with St. Mary's, it was like, hey, show us something, show us you can compete, show us that, right? And they did that. And then Gonzaga, I think the standard is kind of the same, right? Like, do we expect to win? No. Do we expect they don't lose by 25? Correct. Then, okay, so let's say you lose by something like 10. You beat the spread, but you don't win. And then it's like, okay, you go and you beat San Francisco. Now you're going like, all right. I mean, we went 3-1 against, teams that probably we should have gone 3-1 against. We lost to the two front runners in the conference, clearly the two best teams far and away, right? Two teams that are an absolute lock for the NCAA tournament. Probably, Gonzaga is looking at like a top 1 or 2 seed, basically. St. Mary's is probably like a top 5, top 6 seed. at this point. Okay. So you lose those two, especially you're playing St. Mary's on the road. You just go, okay, that's, whatever. Like where you make your money is, like you said, against a team like San Francisco, which is they are rated above you. They're a team that's considered to be better, but not so much better that you can't say, hey, yeah, we can go win that game. And if we play like we've been playing, that is a very winnable game. So I think that's where you go, okay, if we can get through these 3 games like this, and you can win that one in San Francisco, you win one of these 3. You're feeling great. You go into a stretch of 5. Seattle's the toughest of the next 5, but they got to come to your place. And also, we're just frankly playing a different style of offense than we played in Seattle, right? So maybe that turns out, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe Seattle, whatever. But Seattle also seems to have kind of like gotten discombobulated a little from almost beating Gonzaga and then not beating Gonzaga.
And then, almost beating Gonzaga, not beating Gonzaga, being, I think, leading St. Mary's a half and then completely falling apart in the second. And then getting boat raced by Oregon State.
Yeah,
who is not good.
No.
And
Oregon State's terrible, as we know.
Yeah. So, yeah, they might be on a different plane when we see them again.
They might be.
Or their heads will be bright because this is still a couple weeks away. But yeah, so a big week. Obviously, you're playing Gonzaga, but also kind of the one that is more of the game, the winnable game that would be huge and set you on a better path to potentially having, a better finish to the season is that San Francisco game. That's a really like prove where you're at. Obviously, like you said, just to hang around against St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Okay, you're not abjectly terrible. You're not like we thought maybe they were like Ernie quality at the start of the year.
They played like Ernie quality.
That. Yeah,
that's how they played.
Absolutely did. But they're playing a lot better than that recently,
for
sure.
And
that's nice. And it'd be nice to get a more quality win to show for that.
Yep. Totally agree.
But yeah. So basketball, of course, we talked about it for 40 minutes. That's what we do.
Hopefully y'all still with us.
But let's briefly let's do a quick check-in on football. Last week we talked a lot about football. Not a ton has changed in the last week. Obviously, we had some portal commits, a couple guys go to Iowa State, which we're really not surprised by.
Yeah,
like Bobby
Bryson
Terrell.
Lamb, Bobby Terrell were kind of the two biggies. When we recorded last week, I think we were still hopeful that maybe they'd stick around.
Or they just not go to Iowa State. But we're not surprised. A lot of the defensive guys have gone to Iowa State, but that's largely been the only big portal hits has been on the defensive side, which was to be expected with a defensive coach. But yeah, on the offense, they're doing well. And actually, the guys they've been bringing on defense. You bring in some tall corners, bring in a lot of power forward transfers. So some
guys
some
who were
size.
blocked or whatever, who are athletic, but maybe had a hard time getting on the field.
Yeah,
certain places.
And obviously they've recruited a bunch of offensive linemen, which is good to see in the portal. That that the 247 ranking looks terrible in their recruiting class right now, but.
Yeah, it's just because of the lack of high school.
Because they don't
kids.
have any high school kids.
Yeah, they've got 10 high school commits or something.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it on the Slack. It's just 247. It really rewards a lot of quantity over quality, and that's actually helped WSU out in the past sometimes on those rankings.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but obviously the after this, then they're going to focus. The original National Signing Day.
Yeah.
Is in
You'll turn to high school kids after that. Although we did get, so this is a big one though. We have gotten a commitment from one high school kid, a really, really notable high school kid. So Lance McGee, the 4A Washington State Player of the Year, decommitted from Oregon State and flipped to Washington State. Presumably to play linebacker, we think. I know he's been recruited as both, basically. Like he could be either one, as a running back or a linebacker. He ran for like 1 billion yards and 6
Yeah,
touchdowns or
his
something in the
numbers
state
are
championship.
ridiculous.
Like in the state, like between the semifinal and championship, I want to say he ran for like 800 yards or 700 yards and
Yep.
like 8 touchdowns or something ridiculous. So he's a kid from Sumner, nearby me. Sumner's just right down the hill from where I live now. So he's an athletic kid. You know, I don't know when the last time was we got the, Washington State for a player of the year, but he seems to be a kid who was kind of overlooked by Washington. Maybe not seen as quite what Washington was looking for in terms of Big Ten material. And so we got him flipped from Oregon State. Oregon State's kind of a whole separate deal, man. That we've been talking all year on our podcast about what a shit show that place is. Those poor guys. I feel terrible for their fans. I know a lot of our fans don't like some of their fans. Every fan base got dipshits, but I've had a lot of pleasant interactions with Oregon State fans across Blue Sky, and I feel terrible for them because this really fucking sucks. Like, this would be like if Jake Dickert left and we didn't get Jimmy Rogers and we didn't get players coming in and we didn't have a competent season. Like, they lost their coach, they hired their alumnus who they love, and he proceeded to take them to like a 2-win season, or well, I guess that was after a 5-win season, right? So it just is like, man, it sucks for them, but hey, it's our benefit. We've taken, I think we got another transfer, one of their corners, I think, transferred to follow Trent Bray, who's now our defensive coordinator, obviously. So landing Lance McGee, super cool, really awesome. I know that Kirby Moore made it pretty clear he wanted to recruit Washington. Mike Leach and Jake Dickert both decided they just didn't want to. I know for Leach, like the issue was he just felt like it was a waste of time because he was like, anybody who can play at this level is going to go to Washington. And if you are trying to land other kids who might be able to help you, it's just way too much work with some of the, let's say, handlers who are involved. One of which is Tracy Ford with Tracy Ford Performance Sports, whatever it is that thing is. To get access to players there, you got to go through him. To go through him, you got to promise to take some of his like more marginal guys who are like, because he makes money when people get D1 scholarships. So it's a pretty, the game is there. It's pretty obvious. It's been happening at the basketball grassroots level forever with that sort of stuff as well. So this is nothing new, but both Leach and Dickert were just kind of like, Leach was like, we're better off spending our time in California and Texas. We'll just go down there. Dickert, I think, was sort of like, I don't know. I think the coaches actually in Washington State didn't really like him very much. They didn't find him very genuine. So all that to say, Kirby Moore has decided this is a thing. We're going to recruit the Northwest. We're going to recruit Washington. And if I'm being honest, like, I think that's actually, in the past, I've kind of poo-pooed that, mostly because, again, Leach was, I think Leach knows what he's doing and whatever. But I think for the position we're in right now, because a lot of these kids that were like the more like kind of prospects, a lot of them were going to places like Boise, right? Boise State, Fresno State. And it's like, okay, this is, I mean, like it or not, this is the pond we're swimming in now. And it's like, if those are the guys who are on our table now, if we're not trying to recruit to beat Oregon and USC, which obviously that's what you want to do, but like, that's not where we're at now. Maybe it makes sense to put more emphasis on bringing in some of these guys who otherwise might have been like, borderline Pac-12. I think that at this point, maybe, Boise State built a program off of guys like that. They were getting kids, they get kids from Spokane, they whatever. Okay, so let's get those kids down to Pullman. Let's get them on the roster here. And I think that can be part of our identity going forward. And I do think there is some, I don't know that it necessarily raises the level of your program. I think some of that stuff's overblown, like Apple Cups and things like that. But I do think it does help generate interest in the state. Like if we're trying to get fans to come to games and people in Spokane are like, oh, they got this kid from, Meade or whatever. Like it's, all of a sudden, maybe that ratchets up some interest as well. So all that to say, I see it as a good thing. I think that's super awesome. I think if they can get enough talent and you can get the talent from Washington, then hell yeah, take the talent from Washington instead of Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you save a few bucks on the recruiting budget. on the way.
I mean, that matters, right? We can pay players with that money we're not spending on recruiting, right?
And speaking of that, so WSU is probably pulling some guys in the portal that they weren't pulling in years past. And we have been wondering, where is this money coming from?
Mhm.
Because we know the budgets were very small. They got to give, something to some, not an excuse, but, what Jimmy and Dickert were dealing with. I think that Kirby is dealing with a little more money, his staff. Now, you could say it's because of the way he's handling himself, too. He's a little more, he's definitely the most exciting hire to the fan base of these three guys.
Because
Of
he's
these
the
last
most
three guys.
excited to be here.
Yeah, exactly. And weird how when you have a coach that is super excited to be here, suddenly the people with money are excited to support him.
Yeah.
And now
weird, right?
we've talked about, could this be revenue sharing? I'm sure some of it is. Because obviously President Cantwell is really invested in having a good football program.
Yep.
And she sees value in that for the university as a whole, which you and I both agree with. But yeah, but where's this money coming from? We've heard rumors that actually it's not just some moving money around. It's not just using whatever, money you got from the Pac-12 lawsuit and everything. There's rumors that it's actually just people are stepping up and paying for some of this, which we were worried about moving into the Pac-12, the new Pac-12. What we were doing on an NIL basis was not really even keeping us on par with some of the upper Pac-12 teams like Boise and Fresno's and San Diego State's. But you know what? It kind of seems like we are now, because we're beating those teams for some of these transfers, and we're beating those teams for some of their high school kids too. And so, one, I think because this staff is so damn excited to be here, they see WSU as still what WSU was before all this shit happened. And they are selling WSU as what it was, and they're not just selling it to the kids, they're selling it to the donors too.
Yep.
WSU, you know what? And they're not alone in that thinking. We were James Madison's biggest fucking game of the year. We were North Texas's biggest fucking game of the year, because there's around the country, people still see Wazoo as that like a high major program.
Yeah.
Like, and
we still got high major
don't.
facilities, man.
Exactly. Maybe we don't because we were sad, and we don't feel it because we've played like really boring ass fucking home schedules the last couple years, like,
Yeah.
and so yeah, like it doesn't feel, obviously we've had some good P4 teams in, but when you're playing Wyoming in November and you're playing Louisiana Tech in November, like, it's not exactly exciting.
For sure.
But so we've felt the impact. But if we have a coaching staff that has a mindset that, like, that we're not there, and we're going to win this new conference.
Yeah.
And I also think that helps. You can sell a kid on a championship.
Yeah.
Because the only championship because I know Jimmy talked about championships in his opening presser, but the only championship he could have won last year was the national championship. Like, that's, or maybe like or they won a bowl game. They won the Potato Bowl championship or whatever. But there was nothing in season to be like, hey, if we beat Boise and Fresno and San Diego State, we're gonna win the league, and that puts us in a place to potentially go to the playoff or go whatever.
Yeah.
That there was none of those stakes, and now they can sell that stuff again.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna. But I don't want to let that diminish. Like there's a pop when they hired Moore, and how the last few weeks have felt. There's palpable excitement around the program that we have not felt since probably Leach was here.
Yeah.
And it's like probably like 2018, 2019. Like, I don't think there was this much interest and excitement around the program. And yeah, probably. So you hire a young guy who has ties to the area, who gives a shit about Wazoo,
Mm-hmm.
who probably, he's going to be playing his alma mater. He's living close to his family. He's going to want to beat that alma mater. He knows what the San Diego State and Boise State, those are the bars that we have to clear. And Fresno State, those are the bars we have to clear to consistently win these conference.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a guy that understands exactly what Boise State's been doing, and he understands like why people love Wazoo, and it's
Yep.
cool. And I think that's having an impact, and I think that's why we're having a lot more fun. And
Yeah.
also some of it, like I have so many caveats, but also some of it is the portal is so much better this year, like so much more organized.
With only having
And-
it be a couple of weeks, man. Like,
But
fuck.
but even that, like we weren't even able to keep guys at all last
Yeah.
year. Like they were just like.
I mean, when
flying
I
off,
had my
like,
meltdown
flying-
about Jimmy, like truly, my mind went right to what happened 12 months ago, which was like the whole fucking team left except for like 20 guys, right? And so I was like, well, fuck, here we go again. We lost our coach. I don't even know if I like Jimmy Rogers. I definitely don't like the style of football he plays, but also like the idea of having a completely wasted year is like making me real mad. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I mean,
It doesn't feel like that anymore.
we're not there again. We're not replacing 70, 80 guys again. We're just not, we're going
And-
to replace like, it'll probably be something in the end, like 40, right? But it's like, I mean, that counts,
That's-
graduation and whatever. I mean, the
and that's-
defense was almost
that's
all
literally,
seniors.
like, every program.
Yeah, it's
That's
going
like
to be
a
something
pretty standard number.
whatever we go through, I can virtually guarantee, I'm definitely not going to do the research, but like I can virtually guarantee whatever it is that we go through is going to be on the extremely low end of attrition for a coaching change. Like it's whatever that number is going to be in terms of guys that we add or whatever, and guys that we lose. Like it is going to be way on the low end of what it typically happens when you have a coaching change. And that's because, pretty much the whole offense stayed, right? We had some guys stay on defense, but a lot of those guys left. And then on defense, the other part of the equation was, I mean, we had
A lot
like
of
8
guys
seniors.
graduated.
So
Yeah.
they graduated, right? So, we were going to be replacing a bunch of guys on that side anyway. So, you put it all together. It's exciting. It's actually kind of fun for once. I mean, another guy we signed today is an offensive lineman transfer from Utah, which, if you go, okay, well, this is a guy, he's like 6'7", 330 or something insane like that, right? Big dude. And it's like, I mean, Utah's been fucking cranking out NFL offensive linemen for like 15 years. Like, okay, if they saw something in this guy, okay, maybe he couldn't get ahead of like, 2 future NFL players while he was there. And he's like ready to try something different, So, I mean, we just keep adding guys to the pile. And I keep comparing it to, if I'm repeating myself from last week's podcast, let me know, because I can't remember. But like, I keep comparing it to like how Kyle Smith used to build rosters, which is he had a distinct idea of the athletic ability that had to be there to be able to compete. Like, first of all, he just said, like if we're going to compete, we got to have a certain level of athleticism, and we got to have, and we have to get that however we can get it. So they would go through these different strategies, right? You'd have some freshmen, you'd have some transfers, you'd recruit internationally, right? To try and get, guys like, F.A. and Muhammad Gay and folks like that. You'd recruit guys with a lot of talent who washed out for whatever reason. A guy like Justin Powell was another one. You take up transfers when you think you see something, a guy like Isaac Jones, a guy like Jalen Wells, right? So,
Like Flowers.
it's like he comes up from D2, right? And so it's like you're casting your net really wide. And that seems to be what Kirby Moore is doing here. You're taking some guys who have, for whatever reason, not performed at a P4, and not for like disciplinary reasons. Like, we're not talking guys who got kicked off the team. We're just talking guys who, for whatever reason, had talent out of high school, were highly sought after, couldn't find the field for some reason. And of course, not all those guys are going to work out, but you're bringing a baseline level of athleticism to the program, right? And then when you're bringing guys up, like you mentioned last week, right? The quarterback you're bringing up is a guy who's a proven producer, right? You're not taking a chance on tools. You're bringing a guy who has proven he can produce. And then the guys you're keeping on offense are guys who have proven they can produce, right? The offensive line was okay last year. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Most of the guys who are staying are guys who played a lot of snaps. We did okay until we got really injured on the offensive line. Okay, so another year of coaching, another year of experience, another year of development, right? Where they're really trying to add guys at wide receiver. And that makes a ton of sense, right? Because at wide receiver last year, that was the one spot on the field that we could not consistently win, right? For all of Zevi's faults and all the whatever, like the truth was we did not have enough guys who could win at receiver. And you saw that plainly when Devin Ellison played, because that was a guy who could win, right? And you're like, that's different. We didn't have enough of those guys. It's clear that Kirby's going after more guys like that, bigger guys, especially guys who can get vertical. I don't know, man. I just love the plan. You can see the plan. You can see the strategy. You can see how it's coming together. And it's like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it doesn't work, whatever, who knows? But like the plan makes sense. Like you look at it and you go, this makes sense. How he's approaching it. It's yielding guys who you can see like having a reasonable chance to be really good. Like, I mean, I feel fucking great. Like way better than I ever imagined I could feel at this point in the offseason, given that we were going through a coaching change.
Yeah. And his staff hires have been great. Obviously bringing in Bray at DC is such a great hire.
Yep.
That's pays immediate dividends in the recruiting. And then also like just have a guy that's been a head coach with a guy who's never been a head coach.
Yeah.
Kind of be that advisor in a way.
For sure.
That's a great move, because what we've seen a lot with people with the kind of skepticism is, okay, the roster looks fine. It looks like a roster that can win the conference.
For sure.
Will they coach them up? And we're going to ask that over and over again. Almost knocked my beer over and over again. I talk with my hands too much. We're going to ask that over and over again for the next however many goddamn months until this football. It's going to be a really long, like, I'm actually legitimately excited about this football season.
It's going to be torture, man. Spring practices are going to hit like crack, though.
I know they are.
When that stuff shows up, man, I'm going to be watching every for the first time in years. I'm going to watch every fucking video.
It's so nice too. There's no portal after the spring football.
Nope.
So you don't have to worry about a kid balling out in spring ball and then leaving.
Yep.
Which was a legitimate thing that was happening, and you kind of heard rumors like coaches were legitimately like.
They were canceling spring games. They were canceling
spring games. They didn't want.
We're not doing it.
They don't want that shit televised. They don't want people in the stands. They don't want anyone to know, because the kids are transferring because they're balling out in spring, which we know the error, like the fool's errand that is, like
spring is whatever.
Aside from Anthony Gordon, that dude balled out in the spring game.
That was and Frankie Louvu. Remember Frankie Louvu in Spokane? Yeah. It was like, holy shit! Like that dude is different. That dude is different. But other than that, yes, it's like.
But yeah, I mean, there's going to be real excitement around spring ball this year.
Yeah.
I mean the Slack, the podcast Slack, but premium Slack, you should subscribe.
Yeah,
it's
about
really
$4
fun,
a month if you do the annual subscription. Anyway,
but it's just been the football chat's been on fire, like more than it was during the football season.
Totally.
Like, it's been crazy.
Yeah. This is how it's supposed to be, man.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be fun. And ever since the demise of the Pac-12 version, whatever that was, it's just been a series of fucking downers, right? Like it's, every good thing has come with a kick in the balls. Like it's just like, it's been so hard to have fun and enjoy being a fan. And that's ultimately what it should be. I mean, look, you're not going to win every game, so whatever, but like, the fun and the joy should outweigh the shit. And that doesn't even necessarily have to come from winning games. Like it can come from a lot of stuff like this. And there was a point where like every part of the process of a year was just shit. And it's like, it just was awful and not fun. And
Last
like,
year was even scheduling. Like the
I mean, like-
scheduling was a nightmare. Like
I mean,
we're like,
our
oh, we're playing
listeners-
Oregon State twice. Like, what is going on?
I mean, you all have probably noticed that Craig and I at times have not recorded every week. Let's be frank. We do this because we enjoy it. And there have been times where it's like, fuck, man, this isn't even fun. Like, we love each other and we talk to each other all the time. And we're like, I don't know, you want to record this? No, not really. Like, everything sucks. Like, it's really nice to have something that you can feel good about. And right now, right now things feel good. Things feel good, and that's exciting. And and the bottom line is we cannot lose a football game for like 6 more months or 8 more months. So like, I mean, even the spring game. That's why the spring game's so fucking magical, because like we can't
we're not
fucking
getting
lose.
that.
Can't lose.
Yeah, we're not getting brought down by right now. The first game of the year is Apple Cup. Everyone wants a week 0 to kick that out.
Nah,
but
I'm
yeah,
like, Apple Cup week 1, man. I love that idea. Let's take those Huskies by surprise. They will never have seen Kirby Moore coach before. Like, let's get him. I'm excited. Let's get after him.
Okay, so we thought we would have nothing to talk about football. We talked about football for 20 minutes.
That's because I remembered Lance McGee. I was like, I forgot about that when we were planning the show.
Hell yeah. All right. But let's before we get into women's ball, let's talk about what we're drinking. And I don't think you got anything like
mine's
going
to be short, man. I didn't have anything in the fridge other than Old Crimson. So, cheers. Old Crimson Legendary Lager. It's a good beer, guys. You should drink it.
It's a good beer. I didn't have much in the fridge that was new, but I got that basement. And so I grabbed a rando, just totally random. It is called Cherry Lime Times from Allagash Brewing, all the way out in Maine.
Did they partner with Sonic?
No, but it's definitely like exactly what I thought. Honestly, it kind of looks like a Sonic branding a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, it says it's inspired by cherry lime slushies and hazy summer evenings at the drive-in. We that's very much Sonic coded right there.
Yep, for sure.
We took a foeder-aged sessionable sour ale and aged on fresh Maine-grown cherries for around 4 months. Just before it was ready, we added fresh lime zest for that extra citrus kick.
Ooh.
We hope our cherry lime times help you create some of your own.
We love this.
I will say this beer is from February 2021. It was when it was bottled.
Okay.
A lot of the cherry character and the lime zest has since been lost, faded away.
Time.
But it is nice. It's tasty. It's not like overly acidic. It's easy to drink. Nice beer. I enjoyed. I love Allagash, great brewery. If you're ever out in Portland, Maine, I would recommend checking it out. It's a very fun tour. And yeah, we did that when we lived in Vermont. I took Amanda to Portland, Maine for her birthday, and because she just needed to see some water. And so we did that, and we went to Allagash. This was a long time ago. That's where I learned about spontaneously fermented beer. They were doing that there. They were one of the few breweries in the country that was doing it back then. That was like 2011. But yeah, they're a great brewery. They don't distribute in Washington anymore. They used to a long time ago. But they don't anymore. If you live out east, you'll see Allagash White at every single bar. But and even in California they get Allagash too. But yeah, it's a good brewery. Check it out. I love a cherry limeade. I jam with that at Sonic all the time.
Me too.
I'll go to Sonic specifically just to get a cherry limeade.
Yeah,
that's good shit. But yeah, so I think that's why, however many years ago that I bought this beer, probably why I bought it. I probably should have had it back then, but it's still good. Cheers, go Cougs.
Cheers, go Cougs.
But yeah, Jeff, we're doing this again. We had such fun podcasting, and then we wrapped it up with women's hoops. But I will say, women played one of their best games of the year.
Probably their best
game of game
to be
score.
honest. Maybe third best in terms of game score.
Definitely their best offensive game.
Yeah, and probably their best game, I don't know, since the BYU game, which was beginning of December, so over a month.
Yeah. It's been a while.
They should have won the fucking game, Craig. Like, let's put it
Yeah.
that way. So they played Santa Clara, top 60 team on Bart Torvik. Played them at home. Really should have won the game. Like, I'll just leave it at that. They really should have won the game. Kind of fell apart down the stretch, which has kind of been a disturbing theme.
Jumped out to a big lead right at the start. Then Santa Clara responded, took a big lead, but then the game was tied with 3 minutes left.
Yep.
And then they
And
didn't.
then,
they didn't do much.
If I
after
recall,
that.
I don't have the play-by-play in front of me, but if I recall, it was sort of turnovers and bad rebounding, kind of the things that have plagued them all year, which is frustrating. I will say, I think if we're going to talk like positives, Alex Covill is back, and she actually looks healthy, which I know I didn't. I don't know about you. And it's hard to know, right? It's hard to know, if a player's not healthy or whatever. What we do know is she was not good early in the year. She really was kind of a net negative, a pretty big net negative, in terms of her turnovers, and she wasn't blocking shots. She wasn't making shots. Like, it was a real problem. She goes out, she's got a boot on her foot, and then she's about to come back and then takes like an elbow in practice or something. I don't know how that happens, because she's fucking 6'7". Who even gets their elbow up there? I have no idea. Maybe she fell down and took a knee in the face. I have no idea. Anyway, she like broke her nose or something. The last couple games, 2-3 games she's been back, she's been really good. And it's pretty obvious that she makes a pretty big difference for the team in terms of just an interior presence. It's a team that's terrible rebounding team. She gives them some rebounding. She gives them some rim protection. And then, when she gets offensive rebounds, it's a lot of times easy putbacks, and especially in the WCC, not a very good women's conference. Like, not going to see too many players that can match up with her. Obviously, you don't see too many players that are 6'7", but, in the Pac-12, you would face teams that had, women who were 6'4" or 6'5" and athletic, and that athleticism sort of neutralized maybe being 2 or 3 inches shorter. She looks really good right now. And like I said, you never know what a player's doing. Right now, you look at her and she just looks different than she did earlier in the year. Very different. Like, she's just moving so much better. And it's not like she's, the most athletic person in the first place, but her movement is so much more fluid. So if there's anything that kind of gives me like okay, maybe this can start turning around at some point, maybe it's her being back. So
she plays, 20 minutes against Santa Clara, pours in 18 points, grabs 5 rebounds. She's in foul trouble, a lot of it, but that still, like, if she's not in foul trouble, they, the good chance they win that game. Like, if she's
9 of 11 on twos.
Yeah, like, that's also good to see Charlotte Abraham hit some shots. She hasn't had the easiest of years. And 11 boards. Hit a bunch of threes. 4 assists. Just a real great all around game. The type that you would hope that she had. Ella had a solid game. And also the rotation was tighter. For sure. I mean, really, they played 6, and I think they played more because of fouls. I think that those top 6 is what Cammy's going to roll with.
Yeah.
And
6
that's
players
good.
over 20 minutes, 5 players under 10 minutes.
She's got a ton of young players, that haven't played a lot, and honestly shouldn't be playing a ton if you're actually trying to win games against better teams like Santa Clara. But so that's that was a positive sign. Both we're looking at the same thing in the men's and women's game, where it's just they stood up against a much better team and actually had a chance to win. After this, it gets they're at St. Mary's. St. Mary's is not very good. But obviously WC is not very good. But if they play like they did against Santa Clara, they can beat St. Mary's. Same thing. They got San Francisco at home. They're a little better than St. Mary's, but they have them at home. If they play like they did against Santa Clara, they they can beat San Francisco.
Yep.
And so obviously they're just looking for any wins at this point. It has
Yep.
been a miserable season for that
Yeah.
club. Like they're 3-16. Like that's awful. But they're very clearly playing better with Covill healthy, and hopefully that can down the stretch they can get a little positivity in the program
Yep.
going forward. And then hopefully, you know, we can be excited about them again. Obviously, their stretch of 5 consecutive postseason tournaments is going to end this year, which was just an insane stretch given the history of Wazoo women basketball.
It's hard to describe how insane, man, for people who haven't followed women's basketball at WSU.
But that is just why, like, you gotta give Cammie an excuse for this horrendous season, because it's just like, okay, give her a chance to adjust and see what happens, because she is the greatest coach your program has ever seen, and it's not even fucking close.
Not even. Like, it's like Cammie, ... probably Harold Rhodes, right? He was the coach when I got to school. He took him to one tournament, which
like,
again, in and of itself is like, holy shit!
How did that happen in 1991 or whatever?
Yeah, and then it's, I don't know, man. It's probably another, maybe, I don't know. Maybe June Doherty gets a little shout out there. No NCAA tournaments, but definitely raised the floor. She definitely raised the floor.
Yeah, like it raised the floor from like literally, like, it was so bad. It was so bad.
It's not so I try to tell people this. I'm like, it is not an overstatement to say that Washington State University women's basketball was probably the worst program in any sport at any school in the Pac-12 ever. Like, you pick a program, you pick a sport. WSU women's basketball was probably the worst. Like, think about all the sports that are played in the Pac-12, in the old Pac-12. Think about all the different schools. Think about everything. Our women's basketball program is probably the worst one out of any of them, and probably by quite a bit. Like, truly, it was that bad for so long. And so Cammie gets whatever. She gets a pass. You know, is it bad? Yes, it's terrible. And look, I'm not gonna lie, it's concerning that they're not getting better. At least in terms of, like, quantitatively. You know, they're definitely not getting better in wins and losses. But there are other indicators we can look at. Game scores, not really getting better. Like, a lot of stuff's not really getting a lot better. And that's concerning, considering how young they are. But also, like, I don't know, man. Sometimes you just go, it's bad and it sucks. And, you know, kind of see what this offseason brings. You know, if they lose a whole bunch of these young players and you're like, well, shit, what are we building? Or if Cammie doesn't maybe change her philosophy just a little bit and at least dabble in the portal,
the portal.
Like, she's gonna have to, like, at least dabble in the portal.
The portal's definitely killed her so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of players that would have been awesome from last season. I mean, we had the Jenna Villa revenge game, which Oregon State won by 14. Jenna Villa didn't have a great I mean, she had a good game. She didn't have a fantastic game against us, but, you know, that's kind of been the MO this year. You know, Kira Gardner revenge game with Idaho, and, you know, Jenna Villa revenge game, and then we got, you know, AT out there playing for Oregon. You know, it's just kind of put it all together, and it's, you know, she's gonna have to change a little bit. Cammie's gonna have to change a little bit, and I'm sure she knows that. Like, she's not dumb. She's a great coach, so, you know, she may have to pivot, try to figure out how she wants to do things. Some of these kids, honestly, will probably be, if Cammie is, you know, revising her strategies. Some of the girls on this team, they're gonna have to be shown the door. Like, they're not there. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're gonna take us where we need to be. Biggest thing, I think we got to get better on the front line. Like, we have to be a better rebounding team. We have to be better on the front line. You know, you get one more year of LA Villa. You know, you got to make that happen for her and give her some credible threats up front. She's got to rebound better, and that's not something they've been good at really for years. So somehow they got to get better. I don't know how that happens, but they got to get better. And I think they can. I think, you know, Cammie is smart, and Cammie's a good coach. and their talent level just has to come up. That's it.
Yep. And hopefully it does. And hopefully they can grab some wins the rest of this year. But yeah. So we did it. We recorded a podcast 2 weeks in a row, Jeff. I'm very proud of us. Incredible work. Your mic was on, I assume.
Yeah.
This time. We're
my
good.
audio quality was not great last week because my actual, basically this microphone here that those of you on YouTube can see, this microphone was basically a prop last week. Did not realize it. I was actually being picked up on the microphone on my laptop. But thank God for Riverside's like audio editing software. It fixed most of it. So yeah.
Great. So with that, all we got to say is go fucking Cougs, Jeff.
Go fucking Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Get vaccinated. That's right.
Yeah, and I got my hoodie on. Says
Anti-sexist,
anti-racist, pro-equality beer club. But yeah, get back,
support
union.
Especially
Free
that
Palestine.
motherfucker in Detroit who heckled Trump today. That was amazing. That guy's a union member. You know, good luck firing that guy. That's amazing. And
Fuck ICE.
yeah, that too. Free Palestine.